Erich Longie Jr. of Tokyo, North Dakota, pled guilty to first-degree murder in the death of a foster child in U.S. federal court on this Tuesday. Longie also pled guilty to other charges related to the care of other foster children. The murder charge carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. He'll be sentenced at a later date. His wife, Tammy Longie, is still scheduled for trial in June on similar charges. For background on this story, here's our original reporting from May of 2020. Federal prosecutors have now just charged Tammy and Erich Longie Jr. of rural Tokyo, North Dakota, with 5 charges. Each facing 2 charges of assault resulting in a serious bodily injury, and 2 charges each of simple assault, and 1 charge of offenses committed within Indian country. 5-year-old Raven Thompson was found deceased, and 7-year-old Zane Thompson was seriously injured. Here is the statement on the criminal complaint from an FBI agent. Quote, on May 6th, I responded to the Spirit Lake Reservation for a report that a 5-year-old female child was found deceased by her foster mother, Tammy Longie. The residence is located within the exterior boundaries of the Spirit Lake Reservation. According to a report provided me by the Spirit Lake Emergency Medical Services, EMS reached the residence at 6:48 a.m. After determining that resuscitation was futile, EMS personnel told Tammy and her husband, Erich Longie Jr., that child 1 was dead. The EMS report noted the foster parents showed no emotional signs that one would typically expect to see from a caregiver. According to information provided to me by the Bureau of Indian Affairs officers first to arrive at the residence, they found more than a dozen adults and children at the residence. After law enforcement cleared the occupants from the residence, a Spirit Lake Tribal Social Service investigator found a 7-year-old male child in the back of a red Suburban located at the residence. The investigator was concerned about child 4's condition and had taken him to the emergency room in Devil's Lake. Records provided to your affidavit indicate child 4 was examined by providers who determined he needed to be transferred to Sanford Hospital in Fargo, as he required a higher level of medical care for injuries providers suspected to be caused by non-accidental trauma. On May 6, child 4 was transferred to Sanford Hospital in Fargo by air ambulance. On May 8th, investigators spoke with child 4's attending physician, who explained that child 4 had bruising over his body consistent with abuse. The child remained an inpatient at the pediatric intensive care unit. On May 11th, the child was stable enough to be transferred out of pediatric intensive care unit, but as of this date, he remains an inpatient at Sanford Hospital. On May 6, BIA Special Agent Thomas Baker and the agent interviewed Tammy. During the interview, Tammy said a total of 13 people lived at the residence. There were 5 adults comprised of Tammy, Erich, and their adult children. According to Tammy, there were also 8 minor children living in the house who ranged in age from 11 months to 12 years old. Tammy said she and Erich had been foster parents for child 1 and child 4 since July 23rd of 2019. Tammy told Agent Baker and the FBI agent that for the past couple of days, child 1 would not eat much and was complaining about her stomach and would not use the bathroom and was moaning. Tammy stated that she woke up around 6 a.m. on May 6, 2020, and did not see child 1. She yelled outside for child 1 and then went downstairs to the basement. Tammy did not want to go downstairs because she had a funny feeling but did not know why. Tammy saw child 1 lying on the floor. She called child 1's name, but there was no answer. Then Tammy touched her and she felt cold. Tammy ran upstairs, woke Erich, and told him that she thought child 1 was dead. Tammy then called Fort Totten Dispatch and reported she thought child 1 was dead. Tammy denied abusing the children, stating that she would only hit the children open-handed on the butt, put them in timeout, or make them go to bed early. Tammy denied seeing anyone else in the house being physically abusive to the children. On May 6, BIA Special Agent Baker and the FBI agent also interviewed Erich Longie. During the interview, Erich stated that he normally stays in his room all day because he has an injured foot. Erich and child 1 had been acting differently, and she said she didn't want to eat. Erich last saw the children at 3 or 3:30 a.m. on May 6th. Erich checked his phone, then peeked in on the children and saw they were both sleeping. He went back to sleep, and Tammy woke him up. Erich went downstairs. Erich checked child 1 to see if she had a pulse. Erich then stated, "If anybody says that anything about the body being touched, yeah, I had to touch because I had to see if she was." Erich also said she had no pulse, was cold, and white stuff in her mouth. Erich told Tammy to call the cops. Erich denied physical abuse of the children and denied seeing anyone else physically abuse child 1 and child 4. He said he did not know why child 4 would have any injuries. Several other people were also interviewed on May 12th. 3 of the minor children who lived in the home, including child 2 and 3, were forensically interviewed. Child 2 referred to Tammy as either Tammy or Mom, and Erich as Dad. Child 2 said Tammy hits us in the legs, back, arms, and butt. Child 2 further stated that Tammy hits them when they do not go to sleep. She also kicks them in the butt and head. Child 2 said that Dad sees it when Tammy kicks them and starts laughing. Child 2 cries when the mom kicks him. Child 2 stated that child 1 and child 4 were the children that were hurt, and Tammy would hit them. Tammy would hit child 1 anywhere and in the head because she did not listen. During the interview, child 2 disclosed that Erich would spank child 1 and 4 were the last people that child 2 saw getting hurt. They were in Dad's room. Child 3 said Tammy hits child 3 as well as child 2 and child 1. Child 3 said Tammy hits them in the back and it hurts. Tammy hits child 1 when she does not listen. According to child 3, child 1 would get spanked hard and cry. When child 1 cried, they would get spanked more and cry louder. During the same interview, child 3 said Erich spanked child 4 hard on the back and he cried. Child 4 got into trouble because he kept crying, so he was spanked by Tammy and had to go outside and stand on the porch. Tammy told child 4 when he could come back in the house. If child 4 tried to come back in the house early, then he would have to stay outside longer. The third child, interviewed May 12th, denied being physically abused by Tammy and Erich and denied Tammy and Erich physically abused anyone in the house. After the forensic interviews on May 12th, physical examinations were performed on child 2 and 3. The medical examiner noted injuries consistent with physical abuse on both children. Child 4 was interviewed at the Sanford Hospital in Fargo, and it was determined that he was medically and mentally unstable. During the interview, child 4 disclosed that Tammy and Erich spanked him on the butt. Erich spanked him the most. Child 4 said Erich would hurt him by spanking him on the butt. Erich would also put child 4 outside until Erich would call him back inside. Erich also spanked child 1. Dr. Mark Koponen, MD, performed an autopsy on child 1, received a copy of Dr. Koponen's preliminary autopsy result. The provisional findings include blunt force trauma of the head and neck, blunt force trauma of the chest and abdomen, blunt force trauma of the extremities. The report indicates preliminary how injury occurred, assault by others. The conclusion, based on the facts and information contained in this affidavit, it is respectfully submitted that probable cause exists to believe that violations of Title 18, United States Code, Section 1153, offenses committed within Indian country, have been committed by Erich Longie Jr. and Tammy Longie, a.k.a. Tammy One Bear. Specifically, there is probable cause to believe Erich and Tammy committed 2 violations of simple assault and 2 violations of assault resulting in serious bodily injury. Again, Erich Longie has now pled guilty to a murder charge. His wife Tammy is still awaiting trial for the similar charges in June. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNewZ.TV.